I'm going to make a run all the way down the outside of this rail. Some time ago, this is way back up yonder in Maine when I was working in the big barn, putting up the big RV shed. I was spray painting a barn, an RV shed that I built up there, and these people, TackLife, sent me a little sprayer, a little airless paint sprayer, and asked me to try it out. Well, I did, but I'd by then done most of the painting, so I did it on a little small section of building out back, and it worked fine. And when I came to Georgia, this one was in a box, and it was convenient, so I threw it in the car, brought it down here, had it down here, and I have used it today, yesterday actually, all day long to paint this porch. And as you can see, she's a goodly sized porch. We ran 5 gallons through it yesterday, and it worked just fine. Today I'm going to be doing it again. The only difficulty I had with it was once it gets really dirty, it gets kind of cloggy. It doesn't hurt to clean it every so often while you're using it. And also, there's a seal in the cup. Actually, the cup is in here. And that seal leaked a little, started dripping. And I just flipped the seal over and it was fine. I noticed the sound that the gun made. Here's the cup, and here's the gun part that attaches to that motor that's out there. I like the way this all comes apart. You can fill your cup up and then put it back on. You can take this off and clean it all and put it back on the gun. But this little white seal in here was leaking. I flipped it around and it stopped leaking. It was leaking around the edge of the cup when I turned it sideways. But it worked good. I could hear a little bit of a sound like you hear, you know how when you buy a cheap you go to Lowe's and they make a cobalt thing in a grinder, which is a real cheap off-brand, like Black & Decker used to be. May still be, I don't know. But you know how you buy one of them and when you run it, you can hear it almost sounds like the gears are grinding themselves to pieces. They're kind of noise. I could hear this making a little bit of that noise, which really doesn't surprise me much. You know, the bearings in any electrical engine is going to be a weak point, and it's going to cost a lot more money to put the kind of steel you have to put in excellent bearings, and it's going to drive the cost of the gun up. So it's not at all unusual that, you know, companies would put cheap bearings in something like that to make it cheap. However, they did the job fine, and even though I could hear that noise, it wasn't bad, and it might still paint another 50 of these decks without ever being a problem. I don't know, but we will be painting some more with it today. We ran 5 gallons through this yesterday. We didn't have enough to do it all, but if you look at these rails and stuff, man, we did a lot. What we didn't get done was this bit on the floor where Charlie's standing. I've basically got to cover this whole section here and a little bit of a section over there. We got the ramp done, we got the stairs done. This part needs to be done, and this part right in here needs a little more. And Honey Baby is doing brush work over here, so I'm not spraying any paint over here yet, because if I had painted this, she wouldn't have a place for her knees, because she'd be kneeling in paint. So